and Tha is for thawab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatam, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new episode of Ask Zad, coming to you live from Zad Studios. Our first email is from Brother Hussein. He says, I wanted to know regarding male haircut. Islam Q&A says that it has to be the same length, etc., which I believe is also a Salafi site said it can be different lengths. Which is more correct? I like to keep small scissors, cut on tip. What's the smallest number I can have on the sides? First of all, Islam Q&A.info is one of the most trusted Islamic websites in the world. And I have experienced this website for the past like 20 years, maybe more, since the mid-90s or late 90s. And they work really hard, and they ask scholars directly and take the fatwas from real scholars, not like us, Tom, Dick, or Harry. So it is a trusted website, and the fatwas are also trustworthy. However, in so many cases, the issue is with our understanding, or in comparing apple to apple. So it is not advisable for a layman to go and look for an answer to his question that may not fit the question that he's reading on that website. People divorce their wives, and all of a sudden they say, I found a fatwa on this particular site, and it says that the divorce is invalid, or the divorce is valid, not knowing that there is a little difference between your situation and the situation of the person who asked the question in the first place. Therefore, one has to be careful in implementing and applying such fatwas to them, to their selves. Now, the question that we have here at from Hussein, of course, we have the link or the title of islamqa.info, which I highly recommend people to visit it on regular basis, because it is a great source of information and to learn about Islam from such website. So Hussein says, is there any specific a number that I can use on my shaving machine so that I can cut the hair on the side of my head? Akhi, what governs this issue are a number of things. Number one, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he curses the men who imitate women. Then the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he tells us that whoever imitates a people, then he is from among them. And finally, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he prohibited al-qaza'. And what is al-qaza'? Is to shave part of the hair and to leave the other part. So, when looking at these three hadiths combined, it is not prohibited to have the hair on the top of the head longer a little bit than the hair on the sides. This is the normal haircut. Anyone among the Muslims and the non-Muslims, the normal haircut would be that the hair on the side would be a little bit shorter. What is prohibited if someone comes and he shortens it to the skin, like the Marines, when they have their haircut, they do it this way. They have the top longer, but it's almost shaven on the sides. This is prohibited. Why? Because this is imitating the kuffar, the disbelievers. Plus, it is qaza'. If someone wants to make a mohawk haircut, like Mr. T, for example, also this is haram. This is qaza', clearly. If someone wants to grow his hair long and has a ponytail in a way that is feminine, he has no beard, he has nothing, but he just likes to have a long hair like the kuffar or the women, this is also prohibited. Some football players may come and have weird haircuts. So probably you find someone just shaving a line on the top of his head or on the side of his head while the other hair is normal, but he just has a line here shaven. Of course, this is haram. This is qaza', which the Prophet prohibited, alayhi salatu wasalam. Unfortunately, I was told that some Muslims may do such haircuts. As a Muslim, I have an identity. And my identity does not require you to wear this ghutra, which I'm wearing on my head. It doesn't require you to wear a thobe, the white thobe, which is the long shirt that I'm wearing. No, this is not part of the identity. This is a cultural thing. The identity is to be identified as a Muslim by not following the footsteps of the disbelievers. So shaving your beard is totally prohibited in Islam. This is part of your identity, and it's mandatory and obligatory to grow it. Having a normal hair cut is part of your identity, because once you do something that is not normal, then you have changed your route into a different path, which is not the straight path. So normal haircut is okay. But if you put these hadiths that I had mentioned in mind, and before you make a haircut, you ask and consider, in this case, inshallah, you will be safe. Aisha says, how should a woman's outer garment be? Meaning, how loose in inches? Is wearing shalwar kameez enough, because it is very colorful and attractive with patterns and designs, and women in the subcontinent wear this, and the dupta, or the scarf of this same shalwar kameez, which is put on in a way that sometimes shows part of their hair. Now, the issue is that a lot of the people, and I've said this before so many times, a lot of us tend to follow the traditions, the customs, and would want to rearrange things so that it would fit Islam. And this is not the right approach. Islam is our prime objective, and it should fit whatever it wants to fit. And whatever goes or grows out of the borders of Islam has to be eliminated, not the other way around. Therefore, when we come to women's wear, when we come to women's attire, what is appropriate and what is inappropriate, this is not something that is judged by logic or by taste or by what's common. It is judged by the verses of the Quran the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ with the understanding of the three favorite generations, whom the Prophet said ﷺ, Khairul Qurun, the best of generations, is my generation, that is his era of the companions, then those who follow them, the tabi'een, and those who follow them, the tabi'it tabi'een. These are the best of all generations. Now, their understanding is the best understanding. And when we look into the books of fiqh to try to find out what is permissible and what is not, we will not find the Prophet ﷺ coming and telling us a woman should wear this and must avoid this and this, because this is not practical. You remember the hadith of ihram for men? A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, O Prophet of Allah, what should a muhrim, the one who's intending to do Umrah or Hajj, what should a muhrim wear? Now the question is so generic in the sense that he might say he can wear this and this and this, and it goes on. It's like someone asking you, what can a Muslim eat? So you start just listing the fruits, and it takes you like an hour. Vegetables, types of meat, the types of nuts, the types of this and that. It is endless. Instead, you go and answer in the restricted things that he's not allowed to do, and that is very little. So you say you cannot eat pork, you cannot eat meat that was not slaughtered appropriately in the Islamic way, and you cannot eat any predator like wolves, lions, tigers, etc. That's it. And the rest is halal, unless it falls under this haram category. The same methodology was taught to us by the Prophet ﷺ when he answered the man about what a muhrim should wear. He did not list the things he should wear. Rather, he told him about the things he should not wear. So he said that a muhrim must not wear al-burnos, al-baranes, he should not wear al-umama, the turban. The burnos is a cloak that has a hoodie on it. He should not wear the sarawil, which is the pants. He should not wear a qamis, which is a shirt, t-shirt, whatever. And he should not wear shoes. That's it. End of story. So now, if we look at the women's attire, we, after studying the evidences from the Quran and the Sunnah, find out that Islam tells us that a woman can wear anything she wants when she's outside of her home and non-mahram men are looking at her, providing that, one, she wears clothes that cover her body properly, in the sense that they are not tight to show her figures, her bone structure, her curves, and it is not see-through, so that we can tell what she's wearing underneath. And it should not be imitating the disbelievers. So if a nation of the disbelievers are known to wear such a dress or an outer garment, Muslims should not wear that. Thirdly, it must not be attractive by itself. So it shouldn't be eye-catching, because this defies the purpose of the hijab. Why are you wearing the hijab? Because Allah ordered us to do so. Secondly, so that we do not draw attention and the wrongdoers would not abuse us or flirt with us or say inappropriate things to us. So if you wear something that is attractive, it's like calling the hounds to attack. If we go back to Aisha's question, the sharwal kameez, this is worn in the subcontinent. So the kameez is the Arabic word of qamis, and qamis means a shirt. So any upper garment that you insert your hands in the sleeves, This is called qamis. So what I'm wearing at the moment, this is considered to be qamis, but it is long, that goes down to cover my whole body. It's a long qamis. What the women are wearing in the subcontinent is revealing. Their qamis, the shirt, is exposing their bodies, and it is tight at the waist. So you can tell the woman's curves by looking at that. And this defies the hijab. If you add to it colorful printing on it and being attractive, this is another haram issue. Therefore, this is inappropriate. They must wear an outer garment that is thick and not see-through, that can cover the whole body and what's worn underneath. Amira from the US.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Yes, I have two questions, Sheikh.
Yes.
The first one is, I was watching one of the video that I think you were teaching a class regarding the changing the letter of the Quran. Okay, I prayed behind a family member of mine. When he recited the Fatiha, he recited well, but when he get to Sirat al-Lazina, he said Sirat al-Lazina, and I keep telling him, no, it's the wrong way he's saying it. And I show him the video that you say that, it's the wrong way. So, being that he keeps saying Sirat al-Lazina, what should I do? Should I continue to follow him, or
Okay.
what should I do? Because I told him, he said that's how he know how to say it.
Okay. Second question.
The second question is the last two ayah of the Surah Al-Baqarah. How often should we recite in the house to remove the shayateen from the house? Amana Rasulullah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my question.
Okay.
Jazakallah khair.
Jazakum. So Amira had two questions, and the first question is that if a person mispronounces letters in the Fatiha, does this nullify the salat or not? The scholars have different opinion regarding this. Some of them said that the Fatiha is a pillar of salat, and making one single mistake in pronouncing a letter nullifies the rak'ah and hence nullifies the salat. Other scholars say that no matter how many mistakes you do, this does not affect the salat at all, because these are mistakes. And the most likely authentic opinion is that as long, one, as a person is not intending it, two, that the meaning does not change, then the salat is valid. Can you explain this? Okay, I'll do inshallah. One, that it is not intentional. So a lot of the people make the mistake and they recite wrongly, either because they are ignorant of the ruling or they are unable to say it. So a lot of the non-Arabs, and by the way, Arabic language is known to be lughatul dad, the language of dad, because to my knowledge, I don't think there are other languages that have this letter, dad. So people say غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. They make a mistake. They're unable to say it. So say غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين or الضالين. They are unable to say الضالين. So if a person is unable, this is not in his ability. In this case, his prayer is valid for himself, which makes it valid for everyone praying behind him. Number two, if the meaning doesn't change. So when we say صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ, the path upon which you have favored, أَنْعَمْتَ. If I changed it and said صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتُ, This means that I am the one who favored them. This totally distorts the meaning. From Allah Azza wa Jal to myself, the prayer is invalid. Immediately. This mistake has to be rectified. If not rectified, khalas, it's over. Therefore, it seems to me that the person you're praying the Fatiha, praying behind, is unable to correct it because alladhina, maybe it's difficult for him. But if he's able to say it and he doesn't, in this case, you are not supposed to pray behind him, because alladhina is very easy. Those who can say allazina can say alladhina. All what you have to do, the difference between the z and the is taking a tip of your tongue outside of your mouth. Not outside of it, but just put it at the border. So instead of saying allazina, say alladhina. And this would do the job. So everyone can do this. But if he's adamant and he's refusing to correct himself, then I believe that you should not pray behind him. Her second question, Amira, is that how often should we recite the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah? First of all, what are the benefits of reciting the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah? One, the Prophet had told us, alayhi salatu wasalam, that the devils will be prevented from entering a house that people recite the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah in for 3 nights. So it is also part of the adhkar of going to bed. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, whoever recites the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, it will suffice him. What does it mean it would suffice him? The Prophet says, whoever recites the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah at night, it will suffice him. Scholars say, one, it is a possibility that the Prophet meant that it would suffice him from offering night prayer. So they are as big and strong and valuable as night prayer. Two, the possibility or the interpretation is that it would suffice him from being protected with anything else, because the devils won't be able to enter the house. So you can recite it before going to bed. You can recite it randomly throughout the day or the night if you wish. And inshallah, there's nothing wrong in that. We have a short break. Stay tuned. And inshallah, we'll be right back.
Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us through his guidance and example that Islam is complete submission to the will of Allah. For one who submits, a mere declaration or display of belief will not be taken for success, but his or her heart and soul will certainly be put to test. Allah tested the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam severely in order that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam becomes an example for his companions to follow. Similarly, he tests the believer to see whether he lives a righteous life in accordance with the instructions and commands set by Allah, or lives according to what his desires dictate. Whether the faith he displays is firmly rooted in his heart, or is it merely on the surface. He will be tested to see whether he will continue to have faith and love of Allah when in a calamity, as he does when in comfort, whether he will continue to remember and worship him if given bounties and comforts of life, as he does when he lives a modest life. Allah will undoubtedly test him to see if his faith, trust and love of him is unconditional, or is it dependent upon good health and a comfortable life, free from stress and anxiety. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us through his own example that for a righteous Muslim, this life is a testing ground where he will continue to be tested until he meets Allah. For him, tests will be conducted on earth while he lives, and not after he dies. He knows that as soon as death arrives and he steps into the next world, his tests are over. There, he only receives the result of his tests and enjoys the fruits of the deeds that he committed during a short span of time called life.
Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Lubna says, is it permissible for a Muslim to talk in a toilet or bathroom? If not, why? And what should a Muslim do if somebody calls him when he is in the toilet, bathroom? Is it permissible for him to answer? It's an issue of dispute. The vast majority of scholars and schools of thought say that this is not recommended, meaning it's makruh. And some even go a bit further and say, no, it is prohibited. And the most authentic opinion is that talking in a bathroom or in the toilet by itself is permissible. There's nothing wrong in that. And this becomes even more if there is a need for it. For example, if someone is in the toilet and there's some harm is going to take place if I do not speak, so I give a warning to someone that the child is going to fall from the crib, the fire is going to spread from the kitchen, do this. There is a necessity for it. However, this is different if a person is actually in the toilet to answer the call of nature. So if I'm in the toilet just brushing my teeth or washing my hands or having a shower, there's nothing wrong in talking or answering people. But if I am actually answering the call of nature, whether number one or number two, and there isn't any reason for talking, even if someone calls me or asks me about something that is not of urgency or necessity, in this case, I must not answer them back, because this is the doing of the Prophet ﷺ. When one of the companions once gave him salam, and the Prophet did not reply to his salam until he finished what he was doing. Also, there's a hadith that is graded as Hasan, that the Prophet ﷺ stated that Allah abhors two men answering the call of nature and talking to one another. This is inappropriate, and it is prohibited as well. A sister says, who can be my wali? Wali, for those who do not know the meaning of this Arabic word, is a guardian. Who can be my guardian? And what is a guardian? A guardian is the one who is responsible for giving her hand to a potential suitor or man, because this is the way it's done in Islam. A woman does not marry herself. She has to be married by her guardian. So she says, who can be my wali? As I have no brother who can be my wali after my father. My uncles do not care about me or my family, and I'm afraid that they will never act as my wali. First of all, such fear is not realistic, and hence we would not look into it. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, stated that there is no marriage, quote unquote, valid without the approval of a guardian, of a wali. So your wali is your father. There's no father. Your brothers, there are no brothers of mine. Then your sons, I'm not married. I don't have, your grandfather, they're all dead. Your paternal uncle, I don't have any paternal uncles. Your paternal cousins, first cousin, second cousin, third cousin, these are all your possible guardians. If you are cut off a tree and you have no one else, then the Muslim judge or the Muslim ruler becomes your guardian. وَالسُّلْطَانُ وَلِيُّ مَنْ لَا وَلِيَّ. The ruler is the guardian of someone who does not have a guardian. Muthanna from Iraq.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamtullah.
I have two questions.
Yes.
The first, I want to ask you about the hair of the body. Should remove or not remove? Like the armpit area under shoulder joint.
I do not understand your question, Ya Muthanna.
I have two questions.
Yes.
The first about I want to ask you about the hair. Should remove or not remove?
What higher?
Hair, شعر. Hair.
Higher what? The hair.
Hair.
The
Hair of the body.
Of what?
Yeah.
What part of the body?
Like under shoulder joint, the area under shoulder joint. The hair of the area under shoulder joint.
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. Any more questions? Second question.
And above the sexual organ.
Okay. Pubic hair.
And the second question, when I in salat, any salat, after the first tashahhud, and when I go directly stand up or sit to sajda.
After the first tashahhud, if you finish, you stand up for the third rak'ah. Why do you make sujood?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, barakallah fiqh. Muthanna from Iraq had two questions. The second question, I think I've answered him. His first question was about the hair that we remove. So, in a nutshell, I didn't understand his question. A man, in his body, there are three types of hair. One, hair that is prohibited, haram, to be removed. And that is the hair of the beard and the hair of the eyebrows. A man is totally prohibited to remove this hair. Secondly, hair that is mandatory, that is wajib to remove. And that is the armpit hair and the pubic area hair. The Prophet ﷺ told us that this is from fitrah, from human nature, as in the hadith of Mother Aisha, 10 characteristics of human nature of fitrah. And Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu told us that the Prophet timed 40 days as max to remove such hair. So these are two types. The third type is permissible. And this refers to the rest of the hair that grows on your body. So if a man wants to remove the chest hair or the arms hair or the legs hair, a bit awkward, yes, but it's halal. There's no problem in doing this, insha'Allah. So I hope this answers the question. Zubayr says, in the beginning of the prayer, after the inauguration takbir, saying Allahu Akbar, we usually recite ta'awudh and tasmiyah, then the dua. My question is it compulsory in prayer? Because when we join the congregation prayer in ruku', we do not have enough time to recite ta'awudh and tasmiyah. The answer is that when you say Allahu Akbar in the very beginning, if the imam is standing and you join him from the beginning, the sunnah is for you to say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. After you say وجهت وجهي الذي فطر السماوات والأرض, or اللهم باعد بيني وبين خطاياي كما بعدت بين المشرق والمغرب, or سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك تبارك اسمك تعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك, or any other dua. So this is the sunnah. But if I don't, if I just say Allahu Akbar and I recite the Fatiha, no problem. If the imam is in ruku', by default, You just say Allahu Akbar, and you joined him. You do not say Ta'awudh, A'udhu min ash-shaytanir rajim. You do not say Basmala, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and definitely you do not say the dua. Kalthum from India.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Jamtullah.
Sir, I have a question. I want explanation about one thing. Like, what's the difference between judging by appearance, as mentioned in the hadith of Umar ibn Khattab, or having good assumption about others, as mentioned in Surah Hujurat? So basically, there are two groups of people. One says judge by appearance, and they think they have authority to say every wrong thing about others based on this statement. Second group of people says, don't judge me or others, only Allah can judge. So how could we balance both about teachings of Islam? Kindly guide me about this, inshallah.
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. Kalthum's question is a little bit complicated. In Islam, deeds are judged by intention. But this hadith is between the individual and Allah Azza wa Jal. So Allah would judge me according to my intention, which no one knows except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Having said that, in order for Allah Azza wa Jal to accept your deeds, you need two conditions. The first one, to have sincerity, which is interpreted as intention. That is, you're doing it for the sake of Allah. Secondly, it has to coincide with the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So if my intention is pure, if my intention is sincere to Allah Azza wa Jal, to give da'wah to this woman, taking her to dinner on a date is definitely a bad deed. I cannot justify my bad deed by saying that I have a good intention. Allah would not accept my deeds because the conditions are not fulfilled. This is different than judging people, because as Muslims, we are told, we are ordered to judge people by what appears to us. So if a person does not pray in the masjid, I would not say, maybe he has an excuse, this or that. No. So-and-so doesn't pray in the masjid, full stop. I judge him according to his actions. If I saw someone stealing money, I would say that this person stole money. I would not say, I'm not going to judge him. Maybe the money is his father's. Maybe the money was a loan given to that person and that person is refusing. What I see is what I say. This is what I judge. What's between him and Allah, this is for Allah Azza wa Jal to take care of and hold him to account. And therefore, those who say, don't judge me, I usually come to them and say, okay, I'm going to steal your wallet and ask you not to judge me. Would you accept this? I said, definitely not. You're a thief. You're a burglar. I have to report you to the police, and I hope they chop your hands off. So why are you so aggressive? Why are you judging me? So no, you took my money. Likewise, when you make something that is blatantly haram, and you don't want people to judge you, prove it to us, clarify your reputation and defend yourself, like the Prophet did, alayhi salatu wasalam. And he is our role model. He once was in i'tikaf in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Safiyyah bint Huyay ibn Akhtab, may Allah be pleased with her, the mother of the believers, his wife, came to chit-chat with him. And on her way back, the Prophet came out to accompany her because it was night. So she was all in black. And she was walking with the Prophet ﷺ. Two of the Ansar men were coming in the opposite direction. When they saw the Prophet ﷺ accompanied by a woman, they changed their direction and went the other way. Out of respect, definitely. So the Prophet stopped them ﷺ. And he said to them, this is my wife Safiyyah, by the way. And they said, Subhanallah, O Prophet of Allah, do you think that we're going to doubt you? And the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I was afraid that shaitan would throw some doubt in your heart that you would enter hellfire by. So the Prophet, what he did, alayhi wasallam, he clarified his stance and position. He defended his reputation from any possible doubt. No matter how insignificant it is, still he clarified it to the people. So likewise, if we see something wrong, we judge what we see. If the person or the victim is a real victim, he would come out and say, no, what you saw was wrong. This girl or this woman is my niece, and I was trying to give her da'wah. That is why she was not wearing the hijab and blah, blah, blah. But to simply do heinous things, to go on music concerts, free mixing, intoxications, doing haram and organizing haram things and say, don't judge me. No, this is not the right approach for that, and Allah knows best. Ismail says, two men form congregation and are already praying. A third person joins them. Should the imam take a couple of steps forward to lead them, or does he stay in the same place and everyone stands side by side in the same row? And what if a woman joins them when the two men are praying? First of all, when two men are praying in congregation, they must stand side by side. It is a misconception that the imam should be a little bit forward from the person standing right to him. They should stand in the same row. When a third person joins in, we have one of two options. Either the imam steps forward, or, and this is the norm, that the follower to his right is tapped on the shoulder and he steps backwards, so they form a row behind the imam. This is the norm, and this is what is usually done. So either way, it is okay, but for two of them to stand by his side, this is against the sunnah, and this is not the right thing to do. His second question is about if a woman joins them. So if two men are praying together and a woman comes in and she wants to join them, she simply stands behind them both and joins the prayer. Mahmoud says, dear Sheikh, what should one do when they are near someone on the verge of death, when his last breaths are taken and the heartbeat gets slower? Please advise me in this regard. So basically speaking, Mahmoud is asking about what to do when we are in the presence of a person who's dying. There are misconceptions, among them the famous hadith that people should recite Surah Yasin, and this is not authentic. So you should not recite it. What else? The Prophet said, alayhi salatu salam, teach the people on their dying beds, La ilaha illallah. And he stated that whoever last words that come from his mouth are La ilaha illallah, then Jannah is guaranteed for him. So if he's a non-Muslim and he's on his dying bed, say to him, Qul La ilaha illallah. Say La ilaha illallah. If he knows the meaning, alhamdulillah. If he doesn't, explain it to him in English or his native language. Because this is the last chance. And this is what the Prophet did with his uncle, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Talib. His uncle Abu Talib was on his dying bed, and the Prophet cried relentlessly, alayhi salatu wasalam, oh uncle, say La ilaha illallah. He's instructing him. If he's someone who is already a Muslim, then if he's strong and capable of bearing it, say to him, say La ilaha illallah. If he's weak and you're afraid that it might be problematic and he may go into depression or be frightened, just repeat the words in front of him. So he's dying, and I'm just saying, La ilaha illallah. Any Muslim who hears this would immediately repeat it, whether healthy or sick. So repeating it is good. If it is the last thing he says, so he's on his dying bed, I say La ilaha illallah. He said, La ilaha illallah, and he doesn't say any other word, stop. Do not repeat it again. Unless he asks for something else. So he says, can I have some water? So you say, okay, bring him the water and say La ilaha illallah. And he says, La ilaha illallah. This is the last thing he stated. So if he dies, it would be, inshallah, in good hands. Once he dies, the sunnah is that you do not make dua against yourself, because the angels are surrounding you and they say Ameen. A lot of the women, when their husbands die, they start clapping their faces, tearing their dresses, or pulling their hair and say, may Allah curse me, may Allah do this. The angels say Ameen. So you should only say good dua. May Allah have mercy on him. May Allah provide him Jannah. May Allah substitute us with someone else who's better than him. The angels would say Ameen. Allah knows best. A sister says, I got married 4 months ago and my husband is, okay, in short, they got married and they have financial problems. They don't plan to have any children. Can they postpone having children for a while? The answer is yes. If it's for a legitimate reason, such as studying, being in a country that is overburdening you with expenses and taxations, and you don't have enough money, and you fear that this would be problematic, no problem in delaying it for a year or 2 or so, but not to do that for a long time. I'm afraid that this is all the time we have. Until we meet next time, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A is for Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for thawab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatam, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.